Hey everybody, welcome back to Matthew Kelly Pottery. I hope you are doing well. Today we're going to talk about how I organize and plan and set up and take photos for my online sales. I'll be covering all the details behind that, whether it be lighting setup or how I organize the pieces before I take the photos, or maybe even some software programs that I use to help me organize all that. So you know what we're talking about today, so let's go. So obviously, depending on what I'm selling, things change up a little bit. But for this online sale that I'm having, we just finished wood firing number 10. And I have a bunch of coffee mugs that you can see here that are left over after I've done an in-person sale here, my kiln opening sale that we had just this past weekend. I also filled up a couple galleries that I have locally that needed more pots. So between all the stuff that we unloaded, I've already sold some, I've already put some in galleries. And now I've come to the point that I'm getting ready for an online sale. So what I've done is first organized all the coffee mugs by the fact that if I have multiples that are designed the same. So you can see here they're kind of designed in multiples. Like the first set here, there's 8 that are all the same here, which is a pretty high number for having multiples of the same design. Maybe that tells me that I shouldn't do as many of these next time. But either way, and then all the others are multiples of anywhere from 2 to 5. And then I have another board over here of all unique mugs. So the first thing I do is just organize pieces into multiples of the same size and same design, so that as I list those items, I can make one listing for all 8 of these mugs and just put a quantity of 8 in that set. That helps me so that I can arrange that ahead of time. I have some bowls over here. I have I have some that are 6 of them and some that are 2, and some inside I have 8 pasta bowls, and I have some other little small condiment bowls that have multiples. And so that's the first thing I do. Go around and collect all the pieces that I have that I might put online and see if there's multiples of any of those and arrange them in those colors and designs. That's the first thing I do before I start doing anything else for an online sale. The next thing that I do after I have all the pieces organized into similar designs, and obviously with all pottery and especially with wood-fired pottery, there is some variation even with things that are designed and glazed the same, and that is obviously the case with wood-fired pottery, as I just said. But as long as things are designed the same and look similar, I will list them together. Like these 2 bowls were actually glazed the same, fired in the same firing, but have some different look to them, especially on the outside, on inside and outside. But I will list those together because I figure if somebody is buying wood-fired pottery, they probably have also embraced the fact that things can be a little bit different. So if I have 3 or 4 or 5 mugs that are all glazed the same and look pretty similar, I will list them all as one listing. Because if I try to make an individual listing for every single piece, it will drive me crazy and I won't sell pots online. So that helps me quite a bit in the process, especially with mugs where there's multiples or anything that I have that's multiples. What I used to do after that is I would go through and number everything. And so here's an example of September of 2022. I usually start by measuring and numbering mugs. And so here's my notebook paper that I had would normally write down. Just there's 1 through 24 on that side, 25 through 48 here, and I'll go through and measure a mug and then write down the height and the width and then the quantity that I have of that mug, go on to the next one, and then list and then kind of measure everything ahead of time. What I used to do is I would actually get ready to take photos. I'd get everything set up. I'd measure a mug, put a number sticker on it so that I have a listing number, and then I would take the photo and then I would put it over on my rack, and then I would repeat all those same steps over and over for every single piece. And then I realized after a while that if I did it in batches, where I came out here and I measured everything and wrote it all down, then I came back with the listing number stickers and put all those on everything, and then I took them all inside and I took photographs of everyone and put them on my rack, that it actually sped everything up by doing it in batches. So that's probably my biggest tip that I've learned recently. And also Now with this set of pots, what I also figured out is that I use an Evernote app on my phone and my iPad, and I also figured out that I could get rid of this process also of writing them down on paper, and it also made it quicker because on an iPad or an iPhone, and I'm sure with any smartphone, you can use Evernote and you can use the microphone feature to actually write down what you're saying. And so I did that with all of these pots, and it was so much easier to write down all the sizes. And so I'll just give you an idea here of how I go about doing that and how it works out. Now, I did all of the recording of my sizes on my phone, but right now I'm using my phone to record the video. So I'm going to use my iPad to give you the example because I still have the same Evernote app on my iPad, and it works very similar. One of the neat things about the audio function is that it actually stays on for a while, so that if you're in the mode of actually recording sizes, there's multiple things you can do. Number one, I create it as a numbered list. So in this, I can actually have it set up so that as you create a note, you can create it as like a bullet point, a number list, a checkbox, and all that. So I just go by the numbered one. So that creates a number one to begin with. Then I go ahead and start measuring my first piece. It would have been that mug over there, but let's say it was this bowl. This bowl is 3 3/4 by 7 3/4. So then I can just start recording. 3 3/4 by 7 3/4. 1. So I'm going to turn off the microphone now, but this is what I did for the whole process for recording the sizes of all these pieces. I put it on the numbered list. I recorded 3 3/4 by 7 3/4. I always did height first and then width, and then I hit space on my own, and then I just spoke the quantity of what I have of that thing. And then I would do is hit return, and it would go to number 2. I'd start measuring the next one. Now, I wasn't talking in the middle of all this, so I could actually keep the microphone on, and I went through just about all the pots and never really had to touch the microphone button very much. Recorded all the sizes and numbered all of the pieces for this sale. After that was all done, I came through with my price stickers that I use to price pots when I sell them in person, and I just went through and numbered all the items. And so the reason that I do this, when I first started selling online, I was selling on Etsy. Now I sell on my own website through Shopify. And when I would sell an item, if I had, if it was, a mug with, my soft blue and red slip on it, I might have 30 mugs listed with that glaze combination, but the design of it might be a little bit different. And so when I first started selling online, I had to pull up the sale, look at the photo, and make sure it matched the mug that I was getting ready to wrap up or pack up and ship to this person. So I thought after 1 or 2 sales, I was like, there has to be a better way to do this. So then I thought, you know what, I'll create listing numbers, and then I'll put that listing number in the description or in the title of the list when I create the sale or create the listing for the sale. And that way, when the order comes in, it says, this mug, and it says number 17. And I just go find the cup or the mug with the number 17 sticker on it, and I can pack one of those up and ship it out. Just made that process a little bit quicker as well. So you can see all these are listed. These 2 bowls here are listed as number 41. You can see that right on the rim there. These bowls are 38. That's 39. All those mugs are like number 1 through 29 of all those different mugs in different quantities. And then all these small planters are listed. There's number 35. There's number 37. So on and so forth until I get all the pieces that I have selected measured, listed, like I said, and I just did the numbering by the list that I just showed you that I created on my phone. The same list that I used to create on paper with the sizes and quantities. And then from there we go and do the photo booth setup and take the photos.